The stage of America's Got Talent gleamed under the bright lights as a hush fell over the massive auditorium. Thousands of eyes turned toward the smallest figure of the night, a boy who looked no older than 13. He walked slowly toward the center, his sneakers slightly scuffed, his shirt a size too big, and his hands trembling as they clutched the microphone. To many in the audience, he seemed too young, too ordinary, perhaps even too fragile for such a gigantic stage. A few murmurs and whispers rippled through the crowd, filled with skepticism and curiosity. One of the judges leaned forward, eyebrows raised, and asked the boy, "What will you be performing for us today?" The boy swallowed hard, his voice barely above a whisper, "Hotel California." The judges exchanged surprised looks, and a collective gasp escaped the audience. It was an audacious choice, a song considered a masterpiece, performed by legends, layered with haunting lyrics and complex melodies. Could this small boy possibly do it justice? The boy closed his eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply as if drawing courage from every corner of the stage. The spotlight bore down on him, magnifying every flicker of fear and hope in his face. His heart pounded so loudly that he feared the microphone might pick it up. Somewhere in the crowd, a supportive cheer rang out, "You got this." He gave a nervous smile, gripping the mic tighter. What no one knew yet was that behind the nervous exterior was a voice ready to shake the room. At that very moment, the stage wasn't just a stage, it was a bridge between his shy beginnings and the dream he carried deep in his heart. The quiet tension in the auditorium broke the instant the first note left the boy's lips. His voice was nothing like what anyone expected. It wasn't timid or weak, but strong, soulful, and filled with a maturity far beyond his age. The opening line of Hotel California floated through the air, each word laced with both vulnerability and power. The crowd gasped, stunned that such a rich, golden tone could come from a boy who barely looked like he had started high school. Every lyric seemed to resonate deeply, as if he wasn't just singing a song but telling a story he had lived 100 times before. His voice carried a haunting depth, echoing through the hall with precision and warmth. The judges, initially skeptical, sat upright, their expressions shifting from disbelief to awe. Heidi clasped her hands together with a smile, while Sophia whispered to Howie, "This doesn't even sound real." The boy grew more confident with each passing line. His nerves seemed to melt away, replaced by a radiant focus. He closed his eyes at moments, swaying slightly, as though he were lost in the world of the song. The haunting melody wrapped around the audience, silencing even the faintest whispers. No one moved. No one dared to interrupt the magic unfolding before them. By the time he reached the iconic chorus, the audience was fully captivated. People leaned forward in their seats, their eyes wide with wonder. The song had been performed countless times before, yet never like this. This was fresh, pure, and achingly emotional. At that moment, everyone realized they weren't just listening to a boy, they were witnessing an artist being born before their very eyes. As the boy continued, his voice seemed to dig deeper into the hearts of everyone listening. Midway through the performance, a slight crack appeared in his tone, not from weakness, but from raw, unfiltered emotion. That imperfection made the performance feel even more genuine, like his soul was pouring directly into every word. The lyrics of Hotel California suddenly felt new again, carrying an intensity that was almost overwhelming. The camera panned across the judges' faces. Heidi Klum leaned forward, her eyes glistening, her hand pressed over her heart as if she could physically feel each note. Sofia Vergara turned to Howie, whispering, "This kid, he's magical." Howie nodded, visibly stunned, his usually playful demeanor replaced with quiet respect. But it was Simon Cowell's reaction that shocked everyone the most. Known for his razor-sharp critiques and stern expressions, Simon sat frozen, his eyes locked on the boy, his face softening with rare admiration. He didn't just look impressed, he looked moved. In the audience, people were equally overcome. Some clasped their hands together in prayer-like gestures, while others simply closed their eyes, letting the music wash over them. A young girl in the front row wiped away tears, and soon, the cameras captured dozens of people openly crying. It wasn't just nostalgia for the song, it was the way the boy made it his own, delivering each line as though it carried his life story. The energy in the arena shifted completely. Where there had been doubt and skepticism at the beginning, now there was reverence. No one was looking at him as just a child anymore. In those minutes, he was commanding the stage like a seasoned artist, unraveling emotions that people didn't even realize they had buried. The performance was reaching its climax, and the boy knew this was his moment to give everything he had left. His small frame leaned slightly forward, his grip on the microphone firm, his eyes closed as if he were channeling every ounce of emotion into the song. The band's backing faded softly, leaving his voice to dominate the space. Each lyric carried a weight that drew the audience further into his world, as though time itself had slowed down inside the theater. Then came the final stretch of the song. The boy opened his eyes, glanced briefly at the crowd, and delivered a soaring, passionate note that echoed across the auditorium like thunder. It wasn't just strong. It was haunting, filled with longing, pain, and beauty all at once. The note lingered, stretching into silence, and in that silence the magic revealed itself. For a split second, no one clapped, no one moved, no one even breathed. It was as if the entire audience was holding on, unwilling to let go of the spell he had just cast. The silence shattered into an explosion of sound. The audience rose to their feet, clapping furiously, cheering so loudly that the floor seemed to shake. Some were screaming in disbelief, others simply sobbing into their hands, overcome by the emotional storm they had just experienced. The boy, still standing in the spotlight, looked almost stunned by their reaction. His chest rose and fell quickly, his heart pounding, his face flushed with adrenaline and relief. For him, those seconds of silence had been terrifying. But to everyone else, they were the proof of greatness. His final note had silenced the world, and when sound returned, it was pure, thunderous celebration. The applause thundered on, echoing like waves crashing in the auditorium. The boy stood frozen in the golden spotlight, his wide eyes scanning the cheering audience. He had expected polite claps at best, but this standing ovation was beyond anything he had ever dreamed. Tears pricked his eyes, though he tried desperately to blink them away, clutching the microphone as if it were the only thing anchoring him to the stage. Then, in an instant, the sound of one hand slamming down echoed louder than the applause. Boom! The golden buzzer. The judges' table lit up as golden confetti exploded from above, raining down in sparkling streams that glimmered under the stage lights. The boy gasped audibly, his hand flying to his mouth as the realization hit, he had just been given the highest honor on America's Got Talent. The crowd erupted even louder, their cheers mixing with the shimmering fall of confetti, creating a scene straight out of a dream. Simon, usually so reserved, stood up from his seat with a rare, genuine smile. He leaned forward and said over the chaos, "That wasn't just good, that was legendary." Heidi and Sophia were on their feet, clapping through tears, while Howie banged the table with excitement, grinning ear to ear. The judges all rushed to the stage, enveloping the boy in hugs, confetti sticking to his hair and clothes. The boy finally broke down, tears streaming freely as he looked out into the sea of faces cheering just for him. In that moment, he wasn't just a nervous kid with a dream, he was an artist who had touched the world. And as golden sparkles rained all around him, one thing was certain, this was the beginning of a story no one would ever forget.